Alright, this is Peter, and making this video for Marco and Brady to show what we have in mind for the corner details where we're turning corners. This piece here I've previously polished just by hand. I've taken it so it's soft here, it's fairly sharp on these edges here so it looks nice, and I just lightly deburred the back of it. The way it'll be installed is the piece that's running here is going to come up, and we're going to leave a small grout joint, and this will be finished. So that'll be the nice clean look that we've decided to go with. So how do we make this edge here? What I'll be doing is using diamond hand pads, which are a pretty straightforward device. I'm going to order an extra set, have some available to you. But they're basically sanding blocks. The green one is, I think, 60 grit, so that's the first one. The black one is 100 grit. The red one is 200 grit. You can see it there, it'll be marked. And this one is 400 grit. So these we use with water so we don't make too much dust to polish the edges of the tile. So I'm going to polish one of these edges to simulate this edge here, and you'll see how quick it is. This is just a 6-inch piece. You'll be doing it on the 12-inch pieces. I'm going to start with the green, and I'm just sanding it in various directions. I'm looking to lengthen the scratches. So when I'm picking a piece, I'm looking for one with fairly clean edges, but I'm also looking to see how deep the scratches are. On this piece, I chose to use this edge because the saw cuts were a lot smoother. On this side, the saw cut was a little deeper, and I'd have to sand more in order to remove it. So we also want to be careful not to pick pieces that have broken edges. Where we have that broken edge, it's not going to finish quite as nicely because this is going to be exposed to the end. So on that piece, we pick the other end, which is fairly clean through the top and the bottom. So for the first step, I'm taking a little bit of the round and slightly rounding this edge, starting with the green pad, just until the point where it doesn't feel like there's any burrs in it. Likewise, I'm just going to very lightly take the edge off of the top and the bottom and the bottom. That'll straighten out where the grout joint is. So then I'm going to finish my 80 grit polishing. So I'm just trying to get through all of the sanding marks and the saw marks that are already on the tile. The second step is to go to 100 grit. That's the black pad. Also doing the little rounded part. I'm trying to keep it flat. I don't really want to add a curve to it, so I'm trying to keep the tool flat. I'll go in a circular direction for 1 or 2 passes, but I'll always end by going up and down. That's going to make it look most natural. The third step is the red or 220 pad. By now we should have it fairly well sanded, so we don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but we're just trying to take out the scratches from the previous pad. And now we're going to go for a final step to the 400 grit. So you saw that entire polishing step only took about a minute. We're then going to dry it and inspect it. We want to be careful not to change the direction and have these things go flat. We want it to remain flat, so we want our movements to be parallel. So we've washed it and we've dried it off, we've sanded it, and we're inspecting it. I don't see any working marks, so we now have a finished edge. So when we expose that edge with a small amount of grout joint, the color will have returned and it'll look nice and natural. So that's a butt-edged joint, and this you'll use in the appropriate places on the shower and where the corners turn and around the hot tub.